Do you ever just see someone being weird on Twitter and say to yourself, I have to know everything about this person before I can continue about my day? No? Well, I do. Let me tell you about LMAO, who I'm going to tentatively call Rumble's biggest pick-me. I found Mally when the rest of the internet did, through this video she made and posted on Twitter about the live-action How to Train Your Dragon.
What the f?
But now, don't make any bad assumptions, y'all. She might have a very insightful point to make.
And before you start with me, yeah, it has to do with her race. Because this is a story about Vikings. Look at the real Astrid. Blonde hair, blue eyes.
Never mind. This phrase is so funny to me. The real Astrid? Real? Astrid is 2D. In that case, hey, look, Mom. It's my real girlfriend. She spends the next 30 seconds ranting about race swapping in random movies. Let me just pull some quotes.
I was willing to let go of the CGI thing when you weren't gonna do another race swap. Honestly, I think we're at the point where we can start calling this cultural appropriation. Didn't need it, definitely didn't need it, still don't want it.
Now that I've actually seen Wicked, I don't know how anyone could be mad about this casting. She was so good. And also thinking about it, if you have a character who has to overcome discrimination based on the color of their skin, why the f would you think that's a white role?
Still don't want it.
Does she want them to cast someone who's naturally green as Elphaba? Because that's how we end up with Wicked, starring Ariana Grande and Kermit the Frog. Never mind, someone made that, and it's kind of awesome. Actually, maybe that is her intended outcome because, she just wants to stand up for another puppet.
I hear a lot of people complain that we don't talk about Black history enough. Well, yeah, maybe it's because y'all are busy stealing everyone else's history.
She seems nice. This video started a firestorm online, something she both takes credit for and is extremely proud of. And I know that it's not exactly a surprise to find a racist online, especially on Twitter, but Mally is special because unlike anyone I've ever seen before, she watermarks all of her short-form content with her Rumble link. I've seen all of these platforms put over short-form content, but Rumble? Who's advertising their Rumble? And that's how she went from a racist that I would usually ignore to the most fascinating person I found on the internet in like a week. That is to say, I was intrigued. If you're not familiar with my previous work, I made this video about Rumble, which is essentially YouTube for the alt-right. I finished it over a year ago, and the only part of it that's not current is I only referenced the first time Drake lost a rap beef. I mean, look at this. And then look at what JD Vance did. And to clarify, because this clip is months old now, this is JD Vance talking about why he and Donald Trump made up the claim that would eventually become PolitiFact's Lie of the Year, that Haitian migrants were eating cats.
If I have to,
But it wasn't just a meme,
create stories so that the American media actually pays attention to the suffering of the American people, then that's what I'm going to do.
You just said that this is a story that you've
Yes.
created.
Look at that face. Let me tell you, the election ends right here if my fellow Americans aren't stupid. Now, Rumble is still losing money like they were when I first covered them. So to see someone so clearly tie themselves to the success of their Rumble channel was a shock, to say the least. So who is LMAO, and why is she so dedicated to Rumble when she's got a bigger following on almost every other platform? Well, the answer is obvious. It's fear. She's afraid of getting banned because she's a racist. I mean, you probably could have guessed that because she started a Twitter war about the color of an actress's skin, but here's what she thinks about George Floyd, here's what she thinks about immigrants, and here's her retweeting an account promoting the theory of white genocide. She's also pro-cavity, anti-trans, and against feminism, which all of these attributes at first suggest that she's just another replacement-level right-wing grifter. However, something that's absolutely hilarious is that she is also one of the biggest Disney adults I've ever seen. Yes, the mouse in LMAO is Disney inspired, and her Instagram is basically a walking billboard for Disneyland. This is the twist that took me from invested to I have to document my findings. There's something inherently funny about conservatives who have zero media literacy. She seems genuinely surprised that other Disney adults categorically do not agree with her. And it's like, what the hell did you expect? I mean, did she not get the meaning behind any of the movies Disney has ever put out? Like, ever? Or do you think she just watched Song of the South over and over again? Going back to the video about Black Astrid, something that was pointed out in the replies was the fact that the original performance of the character was done by America Ferrera, who is not only not white, she barely did an accent. Like, listen to how the chief of the tribe talks.
We're Vikings. It's an occupational hazard. Now who's with me?
And here's Astrid.
I am not listening to anything you have to say.
Now that I know Astrid's actor is America Ferrera, that's all I can hear, which implies that Mally is fine with people of color in white roles, as long as she can't see them. And mind you, this whole thing about white roles, I mean, yeah, as other people in the comments pointed out, it's a movie about dragons. So who f***ing cares? I do. I mean, clearly I don't care as much as her, and I definitely do not care in the same way as her. But I find it kind of interesting.
I decided to start my research by doing what all white people who care about a character's race should do, which is go outside. I've also noticed this trend of Hollywood placing people of color into roles that are historically inaccurate. I'm going to tell myself right now and confess to you that I am the biggest fan of the show Bridgerton. I wouldn't recommend you watch it because it's garbage, but it's yummy garbage, and I love it. I love it. I love it. It's about English nobles pairing their children off during cuffing season, and it's so fucking bad. I love it. However, it does contain two things that are historically inaccurate for the time period: a mixed race ruling class and men who go down on women. The form of these two got me interested in how exactly this representation was perceived by people of color. Because on the one hand, this story does take place in a time before Britain banned slavery, so it does kind of obfuscate the historical horrors of that. But on the other hand, Bridgerton is deeply fucking stupid. And isn't it just allowed to be stupid? And while a lot of scholars have felt very comfortable weighing in on the merits and drawbacks of this particular colorblind casting, most of the people of color I know in real life were mainly thankful to see themselves reflected in media in a role that wasn't slave number 3. I mean, you could sidestep the issue altogether by putting together an all-white cast like I've done here. But then people like Mally Mouse are going to celebrate what you're doing. And I'd be even more embarrassed to call myself a fan of this dumbass show. And after reading a couple papers on this, I've concluded that I just don't know enough to have an informed opinion. But I do know that anyone who enters the conversation at this volume
What the f?
is not really here to have an honest conversation about the merits and drawbacks of colorblind casting. Of course, in all of this, it's important to remember that Hollywood really only cares about one color, which is green. But not like that. It's not an exact parallel, but I was thinking about this a lot last February when Google released an AI image generator that made the founding fathers black. I mean, this was a crazy take from Alphabet. Denying black people a seat at the table was like the whole point. Actually, it was 60% of it. And it wasn't just the founding fathers. There was a black pope, a black antebellum senator, Kanye, and a black Viking.
This is a story about Vikings.
In the wake of this scandal, the entire internet was asking one question.
Tell me why!
And I will. Most people don't know the most important moment for public-facing AI like Gemini because it happened in 2016. This is Tay, aka Thinking About You, aka Microsoft's chatbot that only lasted 16 hours on Twitter before it became racist. I'll just flash up some posts. You can read them if you want. Let's pick one at random to focus in on. Now, that is bad. However, I would totally say this if someone asked what I wanted for lunch. And ever since this disaster, every AI has been equipped with manual guardrails to stop the product from turning racist or sexist or homophobic because they know they're built on history laced with prejudice. That's why they spit out answers like this. And that is what I see when studios do this, or this, or this. These people don't really want to fight racism. They just don't want anyone to call them racist. And the discussion of Nico Parker's ethnicity only distracts us from the real criticism that we need to level against these movies. They suck. I mean, sure, some of them are good enough to watch on a plane, but the beautiful animation of the original films is always going to make these remakes look like shitty knockoffs. Both live action and animation have their strengths and weaknesses as a medium. But even if you have talented people working on one of these ports, the final product is still going to look like Michael Jordan trying to play baseball. There's clearly potential, but something's off. The tragedy is that these movies could actually be really interesting if they were live-action retellings from the villain side. You know, go the Wicked route. Give creatives new space to operate in, present a more adult story. I mean, not that adult. But the tragedy is that my fellow Americans are stupid. And this lazy slop keeps printing money. And the only time Disney has threatened to stop churning this shit out is when that wasn't true. Which leads us to the true reason for these race swaps. These original movies were made for a white audience. Now that America is considerably more brown, they're casting more POCs so those communities can see themselves on screen and also fork over their money. It's so easy to read these Hollywood execs because they only care about one color, and it's green. Still not like that.
I hear a lot of people complain that we don't talk about Black history enough. Well, yeah, maybe it's because y'all are busy stealing everyone else's history.
Black people didn't choose this. White executives did. When people say this, they're not asking you to insert black people into white history. What they're saying is that they want you to study the vast amount of ignored black history that's already there. They're not asking you to tell the story of the founding fathers as black people. They're trying to tell you that black people have always existed, and the fact that they weren't allowed into the room where it happened is important. That's the true crime of these lazy race swaps. It's literally more woke to not do them. If you're gonna retell the same story and you want to add black characters, it would make so much more sense to switch the point of view and then add new original characters to illustrate how black people actually affected the events of the original movie, but they were just never shown on screen. Like, if you're a studio executive and you're thinking of casting a mixed race woman to obfuscate the fact that a central point of the original story you're adapting is the assertion that beauty is defined by the light shade of a woman's skin, maybe that's a sign that this story is from a bygone era and it should stay there. And while I get the case we're studying today is a story about white people, here's how she actually looks in the movie. You could tell me her first name is Brittany with 2 Y's, and I would believe you.
And before you start with me, yeah, it has to do with her race.
I don't know. Maybe it's telling that she's willing to invest in the historical accuracy of a story about dragons. But ending racism is the thing that sticks out as unrealistic. Mally, just because you named yourself after a rodent doesn't mean you have to think like one. In the wake of posting this video to her TikTok, her account disappeared, and then somebody stole her username. This interaction gave me hope that TikTok actually banned a racist creator. But then I found her talking about it on a live stream.
I deleted it. I talked about it earlier today too. Multiple reasons. One, it was actually, no, it wasn't because the libs are after me. Me getting off TikTok won't chase them away. I'm not worried about that. In case you guys hadn't heard, they were actually, they'd already planned to ban TikTok in the United States. And then the secondary reason that came after that was just that I'm not really growing on there and I'm not really gaining anything from TikTok anymore except just kind of like the headache of worrying about if things are getting demonetized, if my posts are even staying up. I wasn't actually supported by the platform. I was constantly fighting the platform for the right to stay on it. But then the final push came really this morning when I opened up my app and I saw that there was some glitches going on with my name and my picture and stuff. Timing. Trust me, the timing is funny. I tried to put my username back to Mally Mouse. It said it was taken. And so it's like, you know what? I got my start. I got my launch. I found my audience. I found you guys. You will follow me to other platforms. I believe that.
And honestly, maybe I'm gullible, but I believe her. What can I say? I just believe women. I would make a Rumble account to ask her follow-up questions because this chat does not move like she's got 400 real viewers, so she'd definitely have time to talk to me. But I wasn't allowed to create an account because there were only 2 options for gender. Checkmate, liberals. But it's that last point that I really want to focus on, because she thinks her audience is going to follow her to Rumble, the platform she actually wants to be on. And I don't think they will. According to Twitter, 40 million people saw this video. 93,000 took the time to like it. And according to the data in the Internet Archive, less than 2,000 followed her on Rumble. Do you get what I'm saying? Let me give you another example. The night of Trump's win, somebody typed this in her chat. I know this is probably just a shitty hate comment. Believe me, I'm familiar with them. But this is different because it came from someone who most definitely agrees with her politics.
We see this over and over again with members of underprivileged groups who become Republican talking heads. They're allowed to join the movement and exist within the conservative atmosphere, but they're never truly respected by the movement they shill for, and they are jettisoned the second they make the mainstream Republican uncomfortable. Whether she will publicly admit it or not, I think she's keenly aware of the fact that the people who support her do not respect her. That's the reason she's struggling to convert a viral Twitter moment into true support on Rumble, because she isn't reaching an audience that wants to listen to her. She's reaching an audience that wants to listen to what she says. Her mouth is just the one that the words are coming out of. Like, yeah, it is kind of fun how she trolls people who tell her to get back in the kitchen. But that kind of papers over the fact that they see her as a lesser being.
When that section was first recorded, it was hypothetical. This video was written after her big Astrid blow up as a projection of her future as a right-wing influencer. But here we are a couple months down the line, and unfortunately, I'm here to report that my predictions absolutely came true. But before we can talk about her beleaguered present as a right-wing influencer, remember her reasons for leaving TikTok? Well, she's back. In fact, she has 2 accounts now, and she posted a video saying that these were her reasons for leaving. And it's like, those reasons make no sense, and also, I have the receipts from when she actually left. Bitch, is you Simba? Because why is you lying? So much for believing women, I guess. Wait. In case you didn't get what she really did, she left the platform when she saw people canceling her for her skin depth take because it allowed her to leave the platform of her own volition before TikTok took any action against her. Now she's allowed to just freely rejoin the platform now that the heat has died down. And the only evidence you need to see to understand that what I'm saying is true is that these reasons are all bullshit. Not one of them justifies deleting an 800,000 follower account. And this last one here was just her hoping against hope that this racist tirade would give her enough momentum that she wouldn't have to get back on the talk. But here we are. And now the only people trying to cancel her are her own fans. Despite living in the conservative bubble, Mally has almost figured out the truth about a couple American issues, and her fans are not here for it. When the right took a day off hating trans people to study Rachel Ziegler's back hair, and no, I'm not making that up, it's a level of stupid I would be unable to fathom on my own. Mally jumped into this discourse as an actual woman to tell them that, yes, women have back hair, and this really set her followers off. Look at these comments. Let's just get the obvious response out of the way. These men have never felt the touch of a woman. In fact, here's one of them right now.
Snuggling, hugging, cuddling, spooning. What is something I haven't done in months?
I mean, I haven't touched a woman either, but unlike her followers, I keep that shit to myself. Oh, wait. Supposedly, these dudes are her fans, and yet they got so pissy with her that she felt forced into making a response video. Probably because they were too busy talking about pet-eating migrants to learn even basic female anatomy.
First of all, I don't even like Rachel, but to pick on something this stupid just feels like a waste of everyone's time. I feel like a waste of time making this video. But because so many of y'all are currently giving this topic attention, here I am.
To the guy that said, well, maybe you have back hair. Yeah, that's kind of the whole point in my entire video.
And y'all need to quit with this shit. This is not okay. All I've been trying to say is that all people on the planet, men and women, grow hair on every square inch of their body, whether it's thick or thin, dark or light.
For goodness sakes, I feel like I'm answering the question of a 5-year-old.
I have so many stories in the back catalog where weird men find an otherwise normal post and overrun the comment section to bully the original poster into silence. But it's different for Mally, because for her, the weirdos are calling from inside the house. They support her financially. She is a zebra who has decided to go out and choose the job of lion feeder. This scenario is often captioned with the phrase, "leopards ate my face," a reference to a viral tweet about this woman who voted for conservative austerity, but then cried on TV when they cut the government aid that made her life possible. Since then, "leopards ate my face" has become one of the most popular ways to make fun of conservatives, mainly because it perfectly captures the way the working class has been tricked into voting against their own best interests. Mally desperately wants to appeal to a conservative audience. I mean, there's no question she would tell you who was in Paris. But the far-right audience she captures just hates her. I mean, this wasn't even the most recent time that Mally got witch hunted by her followers for being a woman.
Let's talk about it. Thank you to the haters for leaving me some stuff to talk about. All right, so it all started here with my tweet from yesterday and some very easily irritated, jealous, butthurt simps jumping into my comment section about it. Don't be a Mally. You know, I wasn't really planning on it today, but I might pencil it in for tomorrow just to spite you. Selling bikini pics while engaged? Ugh.
I mean, has this ever happened to you? I'm not worried about it happening to me because looking through my comment section, I'll tell you that my fans are based and gay.
Without having even seen the photos, y'all jumped the gun and called me an OF girl and a Well, here you go. Here's the photos that make me look like such a and an OF girl. Here you go. Listen, I'm 25 years old, I love the way I look, and we only live once. I'm gonna be taking the photos of myself, thank you very much.
Now, I would never want to speak for women. However, it appears the phrase she's looking for is, my body, my choice. In the video, she calls these guys the haters.
Thank you to the haters for leaving me some stuff to talk about.
But they're exactly who her content appeals to. These men don't like women. They just want to control them. To paraphrase Trevor Noah's Born a Crime, the traditional man wants a woman
to be subservient, but he never falls in love with subservient women. He's attracted to independent women. He's like an exotic bird collector. He only wants a woman who is free, because his dream is to put her in a cage.
These dudes love what she makes, but only if it's in perfect alignment with how they think a woman should act. It's crazy how the people who rail against her don't respect her, and the people who support her don't respect her. So why do her fans love her when she goes after Hollywood and then hate her when she speaks as a woman? It's because they hate the elites. No, not the real elites. The conservative definition of elites. Let me toss up a screenshot I've already showed you because I think it perfectly captures what I'm talking about here. So looking at that, it seems like we actually have a lot to agree on, right? Not really. I think everyone can agree that society in some form looks like this, and we're all kind of under attack right now from elites. But that's where the disagreement starts. If you ask a progressive to point out the destructive elites, they will draw a direct arrow to Jeffrey Bezos. If you ask a conservative to point out the elites, they're going to start telling you about the pink-haired liberals at Harvard and Hollywood and women. That's because they think the elites that are threatening them aren't the people at the top of the hierarchy. They're the people that are trying to deconstruct it.
Liberal elites fly over my small town, but they don't understand us. They simply seek to impose their will upon us.
Liberal elites? You're a doctor and a senator with a 12-term congressman father and a first name synonymous with a Russian novelist. That's pretty elite. So I guess the smear here is liberal.
Evidence of conservative inability to correctly identify elites is everywhere. Just look at who they think is in the Epstein files versus who's actually in them. And while Republican voters are too preoccupied with the culture war to notice, the true elites in this country are indifferent toward their company's DEI push. They only care about one color, and it's green. It's crab mentality. That's why they view efforts at inclusion as attacks on their being. Because in their view of the world, this hierarchy is inevitable. Therefore, any gains for the people below them are going to come at their expense.
Many conservatives assume liberals, at least the smart liberals, know that the hierarchy is eternal, that there will always be people at the top and people at the bottom. So any claim towards making things equal must be a Trojan horse for something that benefits them. Why would they assume that? Because that's what they do. You don't want to break up the pyramid, you're just trying to sneak someone else to the top.
To quote Paulo Freire, when education isn't liberating, the dream of the oppressed is to become the oppressor. That's why the poor keep voting for Republicans, even though conservative policies actively hurt them. Because they don't care if their vote makes their life worse, as long as it's still better than the people they see as beneath them.
Man, Donald Trump's gonna go to Washington and he's gonna fight for us. I'm standing there thinking to my mind, you dumb motherfucker. You are poor. He's fighting for me.
It's genuinely so depressing what our right wing has sunk into, or I guess more accurately broke into. The double thing, the hypocrisy, the transphobia, the sexism, the racism.
And before you start with me, yeah, it has to do with her race.
Yeah, that phrase might be a bridge too far for the mainstream conservative right now. That's why the critical dumbass uses words like woke and DEI. But a while ago, I would confidently tell you that someone who speaks like this would have no hope of breaking into the conservative mainstream. And now it's like, give it a couple more years and she might. As the American conservative movement becomes more radical, Mally will probably fit in well. Then she won't. This is the point I've been building towards the entire video. This is what fascinates me both about Mally and others like her. The problem with acting like a racist pygmy is that people who are racist don't just hate these people, they hate all of these people. If the side Mally shills for accomplishes their goals with these groups, the next target is her. Not because of anything she's done, but because of who she is. This is the reason she keeps getting canceled by her own fan base. It isn't because she's doing anything wrong. It's a harbinger of what's to come. And this is something Mally inherently knows. In fact, she's explicitly pointed out right-wing cancel culture. She just hasn't figured out why it never catches up to the straight white men. That's the problem with being the token representation in a conservative movement. It's that tokens get spent.
Look at my African American over here. Look at him.
I guess I shouldn't expect her to get that metaphor because it's about the wrong cartoon mouse. I know this poem is a little dated, but it's eerie how easy it is to make it modern with just a few small changes. And I know some Republicans might object to me playing this little word substitution game, but unfortunately, I'm convinced that Mad Libs is like the only thing you guys are voting for. But of course, there's one last aspect to this story that I haven't addressed yet, and it's related to this clip.
Gay Republican is a funny archetype. I feel like that's like the only homophobia I have is towards gay Republican. And it's not even like homophobia because it's mostly like the Republican side.
Mostly.
Obviously, that clip is a joke, and so is the idea of being a gay Republican. But don't think we're going to let this freeze frame pass us by without talking about it. Something else that I found from the people disagreeing with her was that the left is most definitely not exempt from spreading the sexism that we claim to be against. I mean, even the title of this video is honestly not great. Calling her a pick-me implies that her gender is part of what's causing her to post these shitty takes, when I think she became a dumbass all on her own. And while it's fun to make fun of these people for their ignorance about all these things, the most frustrating part about being on the right side of history is that Republicans are blatant liars. But if you want their voters to come back to reality, you're not going to reach them by calling them idiots. I've been doing it this whole video to prove a point that it feels good because, ooh, trust me, it feels good. But it's not a good electoral strategy. Just ask Hillary.
You could put half of Trump's supporters into what I call the basket of deplorables.
I'd like to go on record and say that not all Republicans are stupid and deplorable. They just vote like it. Even Mally, she says and believes horrible shit. But I've deliberately not shown you her more human side. She has the capacity for whimsy and joy. Even though she acts like a monster, she's still human.
Hey, welcome to my crib. Come on in.
If we want this country to move forward, the truth is, the only way that's going to happen is if people like her voluntarily change. And while most conservatives aren't ready for that change until the horrible shit they vote for affects them personally, see this for more details, there is hope. The woman behind the "leopards ate my face" tweet flipped her vote. And even Mally is questioning Trump following his mishandling of the Epstein files.
Trump, are you for real right now?
Now, I don't understand why this, out of all of Trump's scandals, was the straw that broke the camel's back, mainly because I'm not because I'm not a Republican. But it is nice to see them realize exactly what kind of person their guy is.
The Trump that you're just experiencing now, to your deep disappointment and dismay, is the dude we've been dealing with the whole f***ing time. You just didn't realize it because he's been nice to you.
Unlike what my YouTube channel would suggest, in real life, I interact with conservatives all the time. And it's just like, these are smart people. Undeniably smart people. And they'll complain about how their taxes went up under Biden, and I'll tell them how that wasn't exactly Biden's doing. Their taxes went up because when Trump was in charge, he passed the 2017 Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, where he gave a permanent tax cut to the rich and a temporary tax cut to the middle class that was designed to phase out over 5 years to trick you into thinking that the next administration is responsible for your taxes increasing. And they'll respond by complaining that their tax scholars are going to the cat-eating migrants in Springfield, Ohio. It's like, can we focus here? I feel like I'm talking to the dogs from Up. Squirrel! Firstly, that's not happening. And secondly, if you want to see someone eat a kitty, I already told you to go watch Bridgerton. And even though it's so fun to post the Fell For It Again award under every MAGA voter's reaction to Trump's big ugly bill because it screwed them over in exactly the ways we told them they were going to get screwed over, the problem with cruelty as a political strategy is that I think it only works for the right. It's like, have you seen those edits of Marjorie Taylor Greene as the Smiling Titan? I won't deny, they are funny. And I did laugh, and I hate myself for it. I mean, it's not like male politicians don't get attacked all the time for their appearance, especially when their dad was the f***ing Zodiac killer. But quite honestly, I'm always surprised by how quickly my people on the left are willing to drop our ideals of not dragging people for immutable qualities when they have opinions we don't like. That's not to say you have to wear kid gloves when talking about women, but it's more to say that when you're dealing with a group that's been historically disadvantaged, maybe you should check yourself.
Just killed a woman. Feeling good.
What was that?
I didn't mean it. I didn't really think of the connotations of it when I said it.
What was the connotation that would have made that better?
Yes, even when it's funny. Fuck. Take that down. Take that down right now. This isn't true for all the ways that leftists responded to Mally's racist video. But I can't deny that many of them were quite sexist. And the way the internet treats women is why I wanted to take a moment to tell you all that if you watch this video and then decide to go harass her on Twitter, you are not helping the problem in any way. I mean, sure, she deserves to be called out. In fact, I'm doing it right now, but exclusively for what she says and not for who she is. Coincidentally, I've actually seen the original How to Train Your Dragon enough times to know exactly what quote to pull in a moment like this.
Now, you're thinking about this all wrong. It's not so much what you look like, it's what's inside that he can't stand.
Remember, kids, we don't hate her because she's a woman. We hate her because she's a racist and a homophobe and a transphobe and a xenophobe. You know what? We know what to do about a mean girl. Just kidding. But for real, though, please don't go to Twitter to try and cancel Mally. Just give her fans enough time, and they will do it for us. I warned you in the intro that I wanted to know everything about her, so I guess now we need that J. Cole line for both of us. To be honest, when I started working on this video, I didn't realize we were in one of those the Ouija wins by doing absolutely nothing scenarios. Actually, I think a better comparison would be the robot from The Incredibles. At one point, I was tempted to talk about why conservatives are so obsessed with shitting on people they see as lower than them in the societal hierarchy and how Republicans have gotten so racist. But video's long enough. Fuck it. You can read it if you want. The race swaps that Mally's complaining about are just another episode in the bullshit TV show that conservatives project over reality. Like, look at these things that the right thought were major issues in the past. They're laughable now. that's where this issue's gonna end up. I humored her and looked into race swaps, but honestly, that's just because I'm a curious little kitten. I just want to know. Because at the end of the day, who fucking cares? She posted 2 angry videos about this shit. Loser. I think I'm genuinely not good at making these cancel the conservative style videos. I've made 2 now, and I started both with the same goal, to make fun of them, to bully them, which I did do. I did that twice. But rather than being a good little woke tuber and leaving it there, no, I have to just keep thinking about them, and then I empathize with them and I understand them, and then it makes me sad how pathetic they are. It's like in Full Metal Alchemist when they finally beat Envy and then they all just take pity on him. It makes me sad when the leopards eat people's faces, whether they're a Republican voter, a crying mother, or a racist gathering sexist fans. I just wish these people put a little bit more forethought into exactly the position they're getting themselves into. And speaking of forethought, Mally should have used a bit more of that before choosing this particular film to rant about. How to Train Your Dragon might be one of the most feminist films ever produced. No, it does not pass the Bechdel test, but I've analyzed a lot of children's media, and this is the most woke shit I've ever seen. The final plan for the end of this video is for the end card to link into the How to Train Your Dragon video I just talked about, but that video isn't ready yet. Sorry, I just need a little more time to work on it. But in the meantime, I've got to tell you that I didn't buy this copy of Born a Crime as a prop for this video. I've owned it since I went to see a live taping of The Daily Show hosted by Trevor Noah. I was so excited to see him that I read his book and I actually got to ask him one of those between the scenes questions. He was my literal hero. And it was incredibly disappointing. And if that teaser got you interested, click here to watch the full video.